What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope we're all doing well. So, NBA playoffs field is set. Let's go over it. Eastern Conference top two seeds are the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics. Cavs finished with 64 and 18. The Boston Celtics finished at 61 and 21. Knicks are the 3 seed. They finished at 51 and 31. They will host the Detroit Pistons at 44 and 38 in the first round of the NBA playoffs. That should be a very exciting series. You have the Knicks, who obviously can't beat the Cavs or the Celtics, but they are a pretty good basketball team. Obviously, you get to see Jalen Brunson in action, which is always exciting. And then the Pistons are a young team who, of course, are in the playoffs for the first time in God knows how many years. The 4 seed, the Indiana Pacers, at 50 and 32. They will host Milwaukee Bucks, who are 48 and 34, as the 5 seed. These two teams faced off last year. Indiana ended up winning in 7 games on their en route to a conference finals berth. They will face off for the second straight year in the first round of the Eastern Conference playoffs. Play-in is set at the Orlando Magic. Will be hosting the Atlanta Hawks in the 7-8 matchup. The winner of that matchup will play the Boston Celtics in the first round. Good luck to them, because they are going to get smoked, whoever wins that. And then the 9-10 matchup is the Chicago Bulls hosting the Miami Heat. The loser of that game is eliminated. The winner of that will play the loser of Atlanta and Orlando. And the winner of that game will play the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first round. But that's the Eastern Conference playoffs. And, of course, Toronto, Brooklyn, Philly, Charlotte, and Washington all missed the play entirely. I'm going to do an episode at some point about the play-in teams that missed the play-in entirely. About what's next for those teams. In the Western Conference, the playoff field is set. Is the Thunder as the first seed. The 2 seed is the Houston Rockets. Thunder, by the way, finished at 68 and 14, so they have the best record in basketball this year. Second seed is the Houston Rockets, finished at 52 and 30. The 3 seed is the Los Angeles Lakers, who finish at 50 and 32. They will host the Minnesota Timberwolves in the first round, who finish at 49 and 33 as the 6th seed in the Western Conference. A 4-5 matchup will be the Denver Nuggets against the Los Angeles Clippers. Both teams finish at 50 and 32. That should be a really good series. Both those series, LA and Mini and Denver and Clippers, will be 2 good series. Western Conference play-in. Golden State Warriors will host the Memphis Grizzlies. Both teams finish at 48 and 34. See, actually, the West is very tight. The 2 through 7 teams are all within 4 games of each other. Golden State is going to host Memphis in the first playing game. The 9-10, the Sacramento Kings will host the Dallas Mavericks in the 9-10 playing game. The winner of Golden State and Memphis will play Houston in the first round. That's going to be an interesting series, because Golden State, who I would think would win the game against Memphis, there's a good chance they beat the Rockets in that first round playoff series. Even Memphis has a shot in that. Of course, they fired their coach a couple weeks ago. Why, I have no idea. So, that should be interesting. Houston, the team that had a good year, obviously, won 52 games, but doesn't have a ton of offensive prowess, is really young, really inexperienced. They have a great coach in Ime Udoka. So, that'll be interesting. And then the Kings, Mavericks, loser of that is out. Winner of that plays loser of Golden State and Memphis. Winner of that goes to the playoffs, gets an 8 seed, and will play the Thunder in the first round, and I'm sure will be eviscerated rather quickly in that series. And the teams that didn't qualify to play in, a.k.a. are god-awful, are the Suns, Trailblazers, Spurs, Pelicans, and Utah Jazz. By the way, when it comes to the worst team in the NBA, the Jazz actually finished with the worst record. The Washington Wizards, Bob Carrington hit a game winner, hit a buzzer beater in the last game of the season, and which gave the Utah Jazz the worst record in basketball of 17 and 65. So the teams that will have the best odds in the lottery are going to be Utah, Washington, Charlotte, and then New Orleans. They were the bottom 4. But you never know with the lottery nowadays. It used to be, I think, the bottom 4 records each had like a 24 or 26% chance at the first pick. Now it's only like 18.5%. So that's why you see, in recent years, you see teams that, you only have like the Chicago Bulls a couple of years ago had like the 8th or 9th first record, ended up with the the second pick or whatever it was. So you never know, but those 4 teams are gonna have the best odds for the first pick. I think these lotteries are rigged, especially in the NBA. I think they always have been. Not gonna lie. If I had to guess, because the first pick, I could see it. It's hard. This one's tough. Utah, because the NBA picks what would be best for their league. It's how I do it. Shouldn't be, but that's how I do it. Utah, I don't know who want to play in Utah. It's just a bunch of Mormons. Not a whole lot to see there. The fans are I've heard are really, really nasty. There's nothing going on with that team. Washington, the Wizards are just a freaking. It's just sadness over there. Charlotte is also just sadness. And then New Orleans are probably headed for a long rebuild. So that's the biggest market, I guess. It's the biggest market, New Orleans, of those 4. Right now they have the best roster, but I think we will see some pieces get moved. I'd be shocked if Zion Williamson is a Pelican next season. I could see moving Dejounte Murray, even though they just made the move for him last offseason. I can see a guy like CJ McCollum get moved. So we will see what happens. But yeah, that is the playoff seeding, and we had 2 coach and GM updates when it comes to guys getting fired. Speaking of the Pelicans, they fired their head basketball operations guy, David Griffin, after 6 seasons. Constable is coming. I'd be shocked if Willie Green is still employed for the next couple of days. Their head coach. I think he did it. He did a good job putting some pieces out there. He got a great return for Anthony Davis. Originally it was Josh Hart, Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, and a zillion first-round picks. Zion coming out was a generational prospect. He took him. He made the trade to get CJ McCollum, which on paper was a really good move. And, he made some other nice moves. He brought in Valanciunas, who he had for a while. Of course, he's no longer with the team, but that was a nice move, free agent move that he made. He had him for a while. Overall, the move to get Dejounte Murray, although it didn't work out because he got hurt, was a good move. Didn't give up a whole lot in that deal. Well, looking back, probably should have kept Dyson Daniels instead. But on paper, that was a good move. It just hasn't worked out. Obviously, Zion has had a lot of issues on and off the court. CJ McCollum hasn't been able to stay on the court. Obviously, you traded away Brandon Ingram at the trade deadline. You do get back a first-rounder for him, for a guy who was going to leave him for agency. Okay, I guess. But you lose Valanciunas for nothing. And then, again, the Dejounte Murray trade. Dyson Daniels ended up breaking out in Atlanta, and Murray tore his Achilles a couple months ago. So giving up a first-rounder and Dyson Daniels for Murray didn't end up working out. And just every year we thought, oh, this team has a good core for stay healthy. This team can make a run in the Western Conference, and it just never happened. So that's why he is out of a job. And the Phoenix Suns fire head coach Mike Budenholzer. I'm so upset I almost knocked my mic over. Why? Apparently he wasn't getting along with Devin Booker. Okay. You could have worked something out. Like, what are you trying to do here? It's the 3rd straight year you're going to be looking for a new head coach. 3 years ago, you fired Monty Williams. Okay, I get why you did that. You bring in Frank Vogel, who's a very good coach. Former NBA champion, won in the bubble, but was wrongfully fired in LA. He gets a second chance. After 1 year, you give him a trio of Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Devin Booker, which was never going to work out. Not a single point guard on the roster, not a single NBA caliber center on the roster, no depth. A team that is not built to defend at all at this level of basketball. They win 49 games, lose in the first round of the playoffs, get swept, and you fire him for God knows what reason. Because apparently the players didn't like him. He was too tough on them. Womp womp. You make $50 million a year. Cry me a river. Apparently Durant didn't like the way he ran the offense. Meanwhile, Durant's supposed to be a generational scorer. Apparently, he fired him. You go and get Mike Budenholzer, who's probably even better coach. He's a great coach. He's an NBA champion. a former coach of the year who was wrongfully fired in Milwaukee a couple of years ago. And because of how bad the roster is, you end up only winning 36 games, and you fire him. Why? I don't get it. This is such a horrible franchise. Matt Ishbia, the most overrated owner in basketball. You see that he's young, he's involved with the team, and he's in front of the media a lot. He's young and hip and rich. Like, so he gets a lot of attention. He knows nothing about basketball. Not a damn thing about basketball. He just doesn't. And they're screwed. You have Durant, who's 37, on a huge deal. He's gone this summer. No shot he comes back. Bradley Beal, maybe on the worst contract in the NBA. I mean, I would say he's definitely gone, but I don't know how you're going to move that guy. Booker's an amazing player, but he's really the only guy you already have over there. You had a package. You use the Nuggets with a first rounder to send them to the freaking Hornets. And they have no draft picks for like another 7 years. They're $1 zillion in luxury tax. The roster is I'm sorry, it's not that good. Booker's an amazing player. Devin Booker obviously is a top 20 player in the league. I'm pretty comfortable with that. Also, very whiny. Has clashed with coaches over the years. Durant, I think, is still a top 15 to 20 guy in the league, but he's becoming more and more overrated by the day. He's old, injury prone, and I'm sorry, a little bit overrated. Not only currently, but all the time. Bradley Beal is absolutely washed. His contract is atrocious. Other than that, who you have? Grayson Allen, not a bad role player, but also a complete scumbag. And what else do you have there? Anything? You have nothing. If I'm a coach, I stay as far away from that Phoenix job as possible. At the very least, I'm waiting until you get Bradley Beal as far away from the state of Arizona as possible, and Kevin Durant gets traded, see what kind of package you get back. I heard they want 3 first-round picks back for him. I'd be shocked if they got that for a 37-year-old Kevin Durant. I'd be beyond flabbergasted if they got that. But Phoenix is moving in a different direction at the head coach spot with Mike Budenholzer. Why? I have no clue. So let's take a look at the NHL playoff picture. So every team has between 1 and 3 games remaining in the Eastern Conference. We got 7 of the 8 teams have already clinched. Washington, Toronto, who's 5 points back of Washington. Tampa is in 3rd. Carolina in 4th. Florida in 5th. Ottawa in 6th. Devils in 7th. And the last Canadians should be going in. The Rangers were just eliminated from playoff contention. Thankfully, this disaster of a year has finally ended. It's a shame that Sam Rosen, their legendary broadcasters last year there, was as bad as it was. Canadians right now are 3 points ahead of Columbus. Both teams have 2 games remaining. So if Montreal will have to lose out and Columbus will have to win out for Columbus to sneak in over Montreal, so most likely Montreal will get the last spot. As for playoff matchups right now, this is what looks like it's going to be Tampa hosting Florida in the first round. Only change would be if I think, depending on how the season series goes, if Florida loses out and Ottawa wins out, they would have the same amount of points. Florida will be at worst 47, 31, and 4. Ottawa will be 46, 30, and 6. So it looks like Tampa will host Florida in the first round. That should be a really good series. Tampa's obviously a veteran team who's been playing some really good hockey. Points in 9 of the last 10, 6 of those being wins. And Florida, of course, the defending champs. And then in the Metro, we are going to get Carolina hosting the Devils. Columbus has been playing really well if they were to get in. They are actually only 4 points behind the Devils, but most likely it will be Carolina hosting the Devils. They matched up in the second round 2 years ago. 2 years ago they played in the second round of the playoffs, so that's a rematch from then. It looks like Columbus is probably going to be out. Looks like I would think Ottawa would host. Ottawa would play Toronto will probably host Ottawa in the first round. If Toronto loses to Ottawa in the first round of the playoffs, I will laugh so bleeping hard. And then it looks like Washington is probably going to might host Montreal, which Washington should probably win that series without that much of an issue, but I think it'll be entertaining. If nothing else, but playoff picture is forming, of course, in the conference. Capitals already locked up the 1 seed, so I'm sure they can rest. Carolina is only a point behind Tampa for the 3 seed. For the 3 and 4, that doesn't really affect playoff matchups because they are in different divisions, and so yeah, that doesn't really harm her. And the Devils are only a point ahead of Montreal right now, but a 7th spot. However, they already clinched a playoff spot, and again, they're in different divisions, so it really doesn't affect playoff matchups at all. In the Western Conference, Winnipeg they clinched the President's Trophy last night, so kudos to them. They have 114 points. Vegas has clinched their division. They are a point ahead right now of the Dallas Stars. Colorado in 4th, Kings in 5th. Again, 6 teams have clinched. Edmonton in 6th, they've already clinched a playoff spot, but Wild are the 7th seed with 95 points. Blues are the 8th seed with 94. Of course, they had a 12-game win streak recently that stormed them into the playoff picture. Calgary is 2 points out. They are still alive. Vancouver was recently eliminated. The Flames are 2 points behind remember, Minnesota and the Blues have only 1 game left. Calgary has 2 games left, so they are 2 points out of these 8, and 3 out of the 7 most likely are going to miss the playoffs, though. As for what the playoff matchups look like on the Western Conference side of the bracket, Dallas is going to host Colorado in the first round of the playoffs. That is set in stone. That should be an awesome series. In fact, I wish it was happening later in the playoffs. That should be a great series. And then the Kings are going to host the Oilers. It's the 4th year in a row that the Kings and Oilers will play in the first round of the playoffs. Edmonton's won at least 2 of those series, I believe. The defending Western Conference champions will play the Kings once again in the first round. Home ice still up for grabs. Kings have actually played the least amount of games in the league of 79. They actually have 3 games left. Edmonton's got 2. So home ice is still up for grabs, but those 2 teams will face off in the first round of the playoffs. Assuming Calgary misses the playoffs, I would think Winnipeg would host the 8 seed, which Minnesota only leads the Blues by a point coming down to the last game of the season. I wonder if Blues get a point and Minnesota loses, that would make the Wild 44, 31, and 7. That would make the Blues 43, 30, and 9. So, Winnipeg and Vegas, 1 team will play Minnesota, the other will play St. Louis in the first round of the NHL playoffs. A couple of NFL extensions. Well, 1 extension and 1 actual straight up free agent signing. Texans extend safety Jalen Pitre, 3 years, $39 million. This is a good move. He's a very good player. Still only going to be 26 next year, going into his 4th season. Last year, 65 tackles. Only played 12 games because of injuries, but 65 tackles, 1 interception, 10 pass defenses last year, and was very solid in coverage. He's a very good young safety. Texans locked him up. And the Cleveland Browns signed Joe Flacco. 1 year, $4 million, or up to $13 million. He's comeback player of the year with them 2 years ago. They signed him off the straight middle of the season. They had all those injuries at quarterback, and he went out and played well. Got them to the playoffs. Last year was a backup in Indianapolis behind Anthony Richardson. Started a few games. Flacco is at the very end of his career, not starting quarterback in the NFL anymore. However, their rumor right now is Kenny Pickett and injured Deshaun Watson, which means I think Joe Flacco might be their starting quarterback next year. At this point, it's a throwaway year. The offensive line is terrible. The roster is horrible. They're not in a good cap situation. They screwed themselves with Watson. They have the 2nd pick from the draft. There's no point of reaching on Shedeur Sanders, or even Cam Ward for that matter, and throwing him back there. Just take Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter or somebody like that, or maybe move back and still get a great player, and get some picks back, And it's a throwaway year for the Browns. The situation that they're in. Start Joe Flacco. Maybe Kenny Pickett gets mixed in there. Go win 4 games, get a top 3 pick again next year, and then in a stronger quarterback class, they should be able to get a better quarterback next year. But moving forward, Rory McIlroy wins the Masters. That was one of the best matches I've ever seen. Of course, he built a 5-stroke lead onto Justin Rose, birdie at the end to on his 18th hole. That gave him at least a tie for the lead. Roy birdie 17 to go up 1, but bogeys on 18 forced the playoff. But birdie on 18 gets in the Masters. If you've watched the show at all, you know I am not a fan of Rory. I think he's an asshole, and I do not like him. However, he is a great player. The career Grand Slam, 6 golf forever. Congratulations to Rory McIlroy as he wins one of the most exciting matches I have ever seen. To finish off, SmackDown recap. It's WrestleMania week. Get ready, get pumped, get excited. SmackDown from this past Friday opened up with SmackDown General Manager Nick Aldis addressing Randy Orton or RKOing him. And Orton brought up last year when he paid double for the fun when he RKO'd him that time. And then Nick Aldis like, oh yeah, I'll let it slide. And then Orton's like, you better get me a WrestleMania opponent or I'm going to have to apologize to Mickie James on what I'm going to do to you. Mickie James is, of course, a Hall of Fame women's wrestler who is married to Nick Aldis in real life. So I wonder who Orton will face at WrestleMania. But I'm just saying, Nick Aldis, he was very good in TNA. Okay, he was a very good wrestler before he moved into before his post wrestling career started. So I don't know. I'm just saying. And then we had Bayley and Lyra. They won the gauntlet match as they will face Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez of Judgment Day for the women's tag titles at WrestleMania. Not sure how I feel about it. I mean, Lyra is the women's Intercontinental Champion. I wish she was defending the title at Mania. Really wish she was. And I like Bayley. I wish they built up something with her and Roxanne Perez. There was something special going on in NXT. Wish they continued with that. But I mean, you look at the other teams. You know, Pure Fusion Collective, I call them No Pop Collective. They are as relevant as it gets. Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. Maxine Dupree and Natalya. Natalya is one of the greats, but she's been irrelevant for years. And Maxine Dupree is just kind of there. She's obviously kind of like the background character of Alpha Academy. Katana Chance and Katie Carter have been irrelevant for a while now, though they are former champs. BFAB and Michin are like a newer tandem. I will say BFAB is getting better for sure. I like Michin a lot. And the Secret Herders, which is Piper Niven and Alba Fire, of course, the two, I guess, lackeys of Chelsea Green. I love their name, by the way. Secret Herders. I love everything about them. I would probably have had them do it, and then have Lyra fight somebody. Whether it's, I don't know, they were building something with Ivy Nile, didn't end up happening. Whether you have her fight Bayley, do something, but that's what happened there. And McIntyre attacked Damian Priest. Of course, those two are going to fight at WrestleMania. You had Ray Fangs defeat Berto, and after the match, Santos Escobar tried to, you know, when Berto was pissed off, he tried to get him to shake hands, and then Berto did a very quick handshake, and then stormed out of the ring, and Santos shook his hand, and then backstage, he told him that's what I'm expecting, and then and he stormed off, and then Garza kind of gave him a pat on the leg, and then walked off, and Andrade appeared. And kind of told me, keep your head up. You're just as good as him. And then Berto told him to mind his own business and storm off. Can we get Andrade on television in the ring every week? That guy is I get his character's a little boring, and his promos aren't the best, but he's really good in the ring. Get him in matches every single week. And then Zelina Vega defeated Chelsea Green by countout. So maybe again, I really wish Chelsea was defending her women's U.S. title at Mania. Probably against Zelina Vega, but that's not what we got. Cody Rhodes cut a promo on his match with Cena. That was really cool, having all the championships in the ring, the Winged Eagle title and the Spinning title. That was really cool. Then Cody cut a promo. Cena's gonna appear on SmackDown this week. That's gonna actually be awesome. And then Tiffany Stratton defeated Roxanne Perez, and Charlotte attacked her after the match. That feud is just starting to get exciting finally. And then the main event was a tag team match between Randy Orton and LA Knight against Solo Sikoa. and Tama Tonga, of course, Solo interrupted Randy Orton when he was doing that promo against the Nick Aldis. They had a tag team match, and Alan and Randy Orton win. Orton and Solo, or I think it was Orton and Orton and Solo end up fighting into the crowd, and then when I hit Tama Tonga with BFT to win. But then Jacob Fatu attacked them brutally after the match. Of course, those two are fighting for the U.S. Championship at WrestleMania. I expect Jacob Fatu to win. That should be exciting. That is the SmackDown in the past week. That is all I got for you guys today. I will be back tomorrow. Till next time, so long. Have a great day.